All right, we're discussing about the book You Are Special.
Oh, yes, yes. Do you
So,
want to go first?
um, You Are Special, my favorite part about the book is the start off, the concept between the creator, who's Gia, and Elohim,
Mm-hmm.
and the descriptions between those two and how we care. When we feel like he cares more about us, we are happy inside. We don't need to worry about what other people think around us.
Okay, yeah. I like that. And, it also showed that, like, when we let other people determine what we are, we kind of start feeling that way ourselves, especially with, like, the gold stars versus the gray dots. Um, but I remember, like, when, like, they first mentioned, like, the gold stars and, like, people who were very talented kept getting gold stars and they kept wanting to, like, get more and more. I was just reminded about, like, how on Earth we're given certain gifts and we're supposed to improve upon them. And while, like, that's not necessarily the best way to want to go about proving it, it is, like, sometimes a good starting spot. Like, sometimes you obey and then you learn to love to obey. Um, there's, like, that element. I thought it was interesting that, but they didn't want to just say, like, stagnant. They wanted to keep improving their, abilities to jump and spin.
It's spelling big words,
Yeah, oh, that too.
very important, big words.
Mm-hmm.
Anywho, the point that I got more out of it was the negative part because I've hung out with people like that, people who think they're useless, people who are suicidal, have problems like that, have what's called chip paint, um, and they want to hang out with one another because the reason is so that they feel comfortable around themselves. They feel comfortable in their own skin. And a lot of times that's the only way they can until they understand that there is a God. Like an example of this is in Alma, when it talks about the poor and the crippled and how they humbled themselves towards the words in which were spoken by Ammon. And it said, "Blessed be them who do not experience tragedy like this, but still soften their hearts towards the words of God." And that was my thoughts on that.
I mean, going off that point, it kind of reminds me of, like, that girl who, like, had no stickers.
Mm-hmm.
How she was, an example of, like, the true creation, like, in its pure form, and, like, kind of like how we can show other people, like, love and compassion and non-judgment as a way to show, like, what we really are, children of Heavenly Father.
How have you shown that in your life?
I try to be a very, like, open and judge. I always say I'm a judge-free zone. So, like, people can come to me and just be, like, themselves, and I'm like, that's amazing. Like, I might not, like my least favorite was, like, I'm not the biggest fan of Harry Potter, so, like, I tell people, like, just because I'm not, like, doesn't mean, like, you can't be, and, like, the worst is when somebody, like, takes that as, you don't like Harry Potter, you're so lame. But, like, the idea of, like, taking people's interest and understanding them, and even if they're not the same as my own, like, I don't have to treat them, like, poorly for it.
It's true. And a lot of the times that little thing right there can affect people greatly. It's amazing the kind of how friends have affected us in our life. For me, I used to hang out with kids who, like, I would used to get calls at like midnight saying like, "Hey, can you come bail me out?" And I switched those friends out for some that were, I hate to say this, but a lot more nerdy. And the biggest problem they had was, I have too many TVs. Can you take one off my hands? So I got a free 40-inch TV from that.
I mean, from my experience, like, I just don't really, like, associate myself with, like, one particular kind of group. I just, like, whoever I'm with, I give them, like, my full attention and time. It's just, like, they're right here. I can, like, share my spirit with them. And so a lot of times, like, my roommates, when I hang out with them, like, I have one roommate that's really, like, struggling in math right now, like, really simple math, and so she's always asking me because I don't, like, make fun of her for it. And I'm like, okay, we can work through it, and I give her, like, very helpful hints, and, like, even if, like, I have to repeat something, like, 17 times, like, every night, I don't judge her for it, and so she feels comfortable, like, being herself and, like, okay, struggling in front of me and, like, allowing my help, which is really, like, a big testimony builder because, like, while I'm, like, really accepting, like, that way, it's hard for me to do it in reverse. 'Cause I feel like people aren't like that. Like they aren't that accepting nature. So it's interesting, like the two different sides.
So I got two questions for you. The first one is you stated that you live in the moment. You like those that are in front of you at that point.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that helps you feel closer to God that way?
I mean, in a way, it does. Like, I also feel like I kind of neglect people who like are like my like home friends like at home. Like, I kind of like forget about them. That's interesting, but like, I don't know. In the moment, I'm just like, well, like this person is here. Like, clearly, they're way more important than like somebody 5,000 miles away. And it just also reminds me of like how Heavenly Father puts people in specific places at specific times. I think that's what like I used to like almost justify it, where like, you know, like what can I do to this person right now? Because like clearly our paths are crossed right now.
And I totally forgot the second question I had.
That's okay. What about
No
you?
worries.
What's your side about that?
I'm more on the I like fighting for the underdog.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very much always. I'm a fighter. I always have been, and I enjoy fighting for those who can't fight for themselves or struggle doing so because we see ourselves in the underdog because that's how we feel most of our time in our life. We feel like the smaller person.
Mm-hmm.
So my favorite thing to do is help that out and make it so that they're not the ones suffering the whole time.
Yeah, I think a really funny way I go about like helping that situation is like if somebody falls, instead of saying like they're really bad at standing, they're really good at falling. Like taking that like taking their strengths, making like what they do like a talent. Like wow, like it really takes skills to like just trip over nothing. But like not doing it in a joking way, like more of a sincere way, like just in general, like that really helps people like feel like they're valued, but they're not necessarily the same as other people. I feel like if in the story, like people had viewed talents differently, like it could have been easily reversed. Like those getting gold stars could have easily gone like gray dots, and they as a society was viewed as worthy of a gray dot. So it's like my job to be like reverse on that.
That's really awesome. And it reminds me like different places you go, different things are important. For example, like I'm from Texas. The most important thing in life is football. That is all that matters. People don't care about soccer or anything else, but you go to somewhere like Mexico, Guatemala, it's all about the traditional soccer or football.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a matter of what the priorities of the society in which you live in at the time.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, this is our discussion on this.
Yeah.
Hope you enjoyed it. Word.